Welcome everyone. There we go. Get my screens back here. This is Aesthetic Impact first webinar discussion of remote viewing targets in 2015, and welcoming everyone back. We have 3 sessions to look at tonight, and Lynn Buchanan is here with us to help us critique. And I'm really happy that the 3 sessions that everyone contributed so we can share and learn together and then share with anyone who learns off the net. And I have been getting an increase in emails lately of people thanking us for making these so that they can listen. Lynn, thank you for sharing all that you do, and congratulations on your recent interview on Coast to Coast. I understand that that has piqued quite a bit of interest, and we're always happy to share information about remote viewing with people.
Yeah, I've gotten 230 requests for classes already. You know, why didn't this happen when I was teaching classes? But I've been sending them your contact information, and you know, and vouching for you as an excellent teacher. So hopefully you'll be able to keep up with it. Did we just go blank? No, it says speaking. Nobody else has a microphone, so I can't tell if they... No, I see the participants list, and that's it. Okay. Evidently, Michelle has a microphone, according to this. Okay, I'm not able to hear Michelle, but I can see that she's talking. Let's see, chat. Oh, okay. From Janine. Janine says, I can hear you. Okay. Now Jean can't hear anyone else. Teresa is going to her big machine because the laptop that she was using decided it was going to update all of its software all of a sudden. It didn't ask her or anything else. It just started updating. That took all of her active memory, and so it squashed the WebEx signal. Yeah, it's 30% into the update, so she's not going to get her laptop back anytime soon. Okay. She's booting up her other machine, and so she's hoping that she can get back into WebEx and still be on. Well, she's not even signed in now, according to this. She will be, she says. Computers are going to run the world pretty soon if they don't already, and so you better be nice to your computer. You want it to remember you well. I feel like throwing mine into the trash every now and then. Yeah. This hasn't happened in a long time, but I got, my back was hurting. I've got a nerve in my arm that's being pinched and just hurting. And I was just in misery the other day, and I sat down and I thought, hell with this getting old thing, getting old hurts and hurting gets old, and I was sitting here by the computer, and all of a sudden the computer went bloop. And when I was on Coast to Coast the other night, my phone went out. The battery on it went out just all of a sudden. And I got upset and was running around here, and Connie told me that they started having all kinds of electronic problems and everything else in the studio there. They couldn't figure out what was on, and it all quit when I got back on. So it's always fun. Of course. She's trying to join again, so she should be back on in a few minutes. There she is. It says she's on.
The only thing is,
We can hear you.
all right, let me get the mic in.
Okay, I'm going to hang up the phone.
Okay.
Oh, man. Hey, Teresa, we don't have your picture.
I'm working on it. I'm still.
Okay. I didn't know if we could see your desktop when you start showing the things or not. Yeah, Janine, electrical problems do seem to get worse during cold weather. And I mean, it's been cold here. It's been down to 65 degrees. We have an attendee, Paul Cosby. Do you have a microphone, Paul? There you go. We can't hear you, Teresa. We can't hear you. It's always something.
Oh, it would help if I gave myself a mic.
There you go. We can hear you.
When I'm in here on two computers, I have to enable myself the way I enable all of you. I do it so rarely that I'm a little slow. So, okay, let's try this again. I have no idea what happens when the laptop finishes updating. Is that your phone?
Yes, be back.
I have no idea what happens when the laptop finishes updating in the living room over there on the other side of the house. So let's try this again. Again. Okay, and this says we're 12 minutes in. So it sounds like the laptop probably has been recording while I was, or not. We may have a whole bunch of blank at the beginning of this webinar. But anyway, just as an explanation, if somebody is listening in and there was a 10 minutes of emptiness, my laptop decided to update and totally shut down in the middle of us just getting started. So I rebooted my big computer in the office and we're starting again. And luckily we were not in the middle of session review.
Do you get a chance to edit the recordings?
I think it might be possible. I normally don't have time, and it's like that is a little schizoid, and if I have to start messing with them, trying to make them perfect, I've never actually gone that far. So let me see if I can get, but I hear you. What is this today? What's our target? 1206. Here we go. Good. I think I actually have these on my desktop. I think I saved them just in case. I'm looking. No, of course not. But I can find them. Just more delays for you guys. I'm sorry. One, two. Okay. Let me just send these to the desktop where I can grab them really quick.
Could you get a little more volume on your mic?
Sure. That just means I lean forward and talk louder. It's
all right.
Really high tech.
The old-fashioned way, yeah.
That's right. It's high tech. So far I have been trying to get these moved over to the desktop where I can grab them easily. Since somebody give me the coordinates for tonight. I've got too many students with too many targets going.
120627.
Thank you. All right. There's one for Barlow, one for another one for Barlow. How about I find Favreau and Bornhorst?
We had one attendee who was Paul Cosby, and evidently he bailed on us.
Okay. He's one of my students. He comes regularly. All right. I now have, there's Michelle, there's the feedback, there's Janine, and there's Bob. All right. Let us have at this again. Okay. Everything is loaded onto the desktop, and I'm going to change my computer over. Okay. And here is your feedback, hopefully. Yeah. There we go. This first target is one from Lynn's website, and Lynn is setting us up for targets for the rest of the year, but they will not be available until we make them available the night of the webinar or thereabouts. We'll see how it goes, but they're not up and they won't be up for a while. So anyway, Himalayan honey hunters cling to cliffside tradition, which this is a really cool target. There is a lot of old news being incorporated, and I don't know if angst is the right word, but twice a year, the Himalayan foothills of central Nepal, teams of men gather around cliffs that are home to the world's largest honeybee, Apis laboriosa. The men that are there to harvest the honey as they have for countless generations. Historians have found evidence that dates the practice back to 11,000 BC. Most of the nests are located as high as 200 feet, 61 meters, on steep, inaccessible southwest-facing cliffs to avoid predators and for increased exposure to direct sunlight. The harvest ritual, which varies slightly from community to community, begins with a prayer and sacrifice of flowers, fruit, and rice. The men also drink a homemade form of beer as an appeasement to the god of the cave. Then a fire is lit at the base of the cliff using green wood and leaves to produce the most smoke. Smoke is traditionally used to calm bees, but smoke puts these bees into a state of panic, and bees from every colony swarm to protect their colony. From above, a honey hunter descends the cliff harnessed to a ladder by ropes. As his mates secure the rope and ladder from the top and ferry tools up and down as required, the honey hunter fights territorial bees as he cuts out chunks of honey from the comb. His face, hands, and feet are bare, and the number of stings are sometimes in the hundreds. The honey hunter has the very difficult task of ignoring the bee stings while dangling on a swinging rope ladder, using a very long stick with one hand to sever pieces from the comb, using another long stick to maneuver a basket under the pieces as they fall, in order to keep the pieces from splattering all the honey onto the rocks below. Now, both the bees and traditional honey hunters are in short supply because of the overzealous harvest of more modern and more efficient methods. That is not only bad for the traditional honey hunters and for the bees, since the honeybee serves as the prime pollinator for the ecoregion, the bee's decline is thought to have devastating consequences for the native high-altitude plants that rely on the honeybee for their reproduction. The baskets of honeycomb are lowered to the ground where they are emptied into metal containers. Workers there collect the honey by squeezing it out of the comb. And of course, pieces miss the basket, and while those are being collected from the ground, it's only appropriate to sample the honey from it, just to be sure it's good, of course. The children who come with their fathers also get their fill of honey and the chewy honeycomb. Nectar produced by some species of rhododendron in high mountain areas brings medicinal qualities to this honey. It has relaxing properties and is used as a sedative. It is also reported that some Korean local healers use this honey for treating addicts. In the past few decades, demand for this A. laboriosa honey, which is procured during the spring when the rhododendrons bloom, has soared. A kilogram, 2.2 pounds, fetches upwards of US $15 on the open market. To supply demand, Nepal's forestry department has transferred ownership of the cliffs from indigenous communities to the government and opened up honey harvesting rights to the contractors on a first-come, first-served basis. As a result, traditional honey hunting techniques and rituals that ensured a sustainable harvest and maintained bee populations have given way to non-traditional techniques that denude cliffs of nests in an effort by contractors to maximize profits. And the map for dowsing. And again, this came from Lynn's website, so you can feel free to print it and attach it to your sessions. And then we'll look at some sessions. Just grabbing the first one. Happens to be Michelle. And we have 13 pages. So zipping on down through her phase 1, into phase 2, and we're doing a little bit of sketching there. Michelle, I know you're a conservationist. You might want to leave a little more space in between. Getting tons of information as always. Note, oversized. She makes excellent summary at the end. I know I'm zooming. Her summary really tells her session, and she's got notes of her notes. So note, oversized barrels against very tall walls. Something about it is sophisticated, and I could also enlarge this some. Is sophisticated and it's like and honored, as in the work, the making of wine. And her fingers and toes are icy cold through this session. But she's getting perceptions, harvesting, preparing, and she's worried that she's castle building. She made a note of that. Excellent, excellent. She's getting hops like beer, stray cat. They drank beer as an appeasement to the gods. How cool is that?
Sounds like a good excuse to me.
Oh, please. That's the German in you. Or maybe the Irish.
Neither German nor Irish need any excuse to drink beer.
And look at this next stray cat. 99 bottles of beer on the wall.
Very good phase 7 there.
Yeah. All right. Now we're getting down to her AI. It's in front of me. I like it. I want to take off walking. It's like long range, muddy fields of private land. It's special. She's got straight lanes of hard dirt with rounded bumps of tilled growth. Got some greenery off on the side. What appears to be a tree. Would hate to name that as a tree, get myself in all kind of trouble. All right, and then here is her sketch. Looks very patterned with sections, and we are working with honeycombs. Lynn, what do you think of seeing a doorway there? I don't know that there is any actual physical structures involved. Do you think that that could be symbolic?
Could be. I'm not sure.
Could be.
Yeah, these are cavities in the hillside and cliffs and caves, and so I think the buildings may just be, you know, this one strikes me as very neat, very Dali-ish.
Very
the one, the Salvador Dali.
Oh, thank you. I'm like,
yeah, not Dolly Parton, Salvador Dali. But the
start singing Rocky Top or something.
yeah, the orientation of the two buildings there is showing that this really comes from the subconscious. I'm not sure what it means, but you know, the conscious mind would draw everything on the same level and in the same direct orientation and all that. This is a very neat drawing, neater than you might suspect. This is evident that it comes from the subconscious mind, and I'm not sure at this point what this means, but I know enough about viewers' drawings to know that this is somehow extremely important to the site.
And you never know what kind of roof they may have actual buildings there that may have like thatched shingles or something. But
up on top there may be, you know, up on top of these cliffs there may be villages or buildings or whatever up there.
To surf. We'll try it at the end and see if we can get some extra pictures.
Okay.
But yeah. So as your grasshoppers, I can appreciate that you're saying that we don't know what we don't know, and we're trying to appreciate this because this is very significant. And then her next sketch, the barrels that she was talking about.
And they have basket after basket of this honeycomb that's, you know, going up and down as the basket fills up, you know.
Looks like stairs or graduated something that looks like stairs. All right, here is her summary. Purpose is a facility that handles land and technology to produce a consumable, liquidy substance. The target has aspects of land, man-made, space and motion, biologicals, and water. The land is straight, flat, tan, low, and hill buffered. It's sunny, mild temperature and basinish as a land mass. The land is cleared for agriculture use. It is early in the season. Newly sown seeds just below the soil. The long expanse of land has a zigzag quality from the air. It is a north-central area that then shoots west, then north. The land is grooved, lanes, lined, worked, and watched. It is windy and breezy, mostly treeless, wild, surrounded, and hardy. This land is native-centered, rough, and arid. The use of this land has recently been switched up, and the people are anxiously awaiting the results. The man-made is a long, tall, rambling configuration that has a compound-type layout. It is large, crude, and barn-like. The man-made is more earthy and less refined in design. design, it is utility in nature. The outside walls had white, bumpy surfaces. There were silvery colored, tin-like shaped, smaller man-mades with the tin-lidded roofs. Something about this place's function put me in mind of a distillery of some sort. There is mead, mead wine out of honey, but they don't make it there. But I wonder if it was fermented somehow, just sitting there in the combs. The space was about harvesting, preparing, and storing. There are elements of holding steady, production, preserving, and labeling. New technology is being taught here. The space is business and production, yet it is visitor friendly. Glass, glass, something clinking. Cheers. The vibe is exemplary in their historical narrative of brave updates. They are mixing old nature with new science for a win-win. Even though there are loud areas of metal, broad-belted mechanics, it is an unusually small workforce for such large results. Cleanliness is a big deal priority. The motion at this target is about collecting, harvesting, shaking, grading, cleaning, drying, processing, as in several steps, sorting and stocking, waiting or holding, and then shipping out. The motion has shipment out. The motion has an internal choppy schedule that is based more on seasons than daily action. Measuring and containing with spinning vats that pour from tubes is a basic motion here. Biologicals are males, late 20 to early 50s. They are a tight team of entrepreneurial farmer types with a twist of engineering. They are meticulous, neat freaks that appreciate order. New at marketing and pressured by technology, they are happy charting this place's growth. The water here is for spraying the fields. There are large tanks holding enough water to support this medium-sized business operation. There are water sprinklers in the man-made as safety features. A river runs south of the target with a small lake off to the east. And then her notes from the beginning, her hands were very sweaty and shaky. And I don't know if you're allergic to bees, Michelle. Castle building, described the target. She gave herself direction.
200 feet up on the ladder would make your hands sweaty and shaky.
I wondered. I didn't want to get into trouble by volunteering that and to have bazillions of bees swarming around you. And she was really concerned that she was castle building.
I think there was some castle building going on there, but it was, I think, an attempt to understand the target and to identify the target. And of course, the rule is describe, don't identify. Mm-hmm. And she has described this target really, really well. I especially like the stuff pouring from the tubes. Mm-hmm. Honeycombs are the places where the bees were born. Mm-hmm. And once the bee gets born and comes out of there, they fill it with honey as a food reserve. Mm-hmm. And so a honeycomb is all these little tubes. And squeezing it, of course, the honey comes out of the tubes. And I like that part of the description very well.
Michelle, that's an excellent session. Do you have anything you'd like to say? Get everybody up here, actually. All right, I brought my little chat screen up just in case anybody entered anything. So, very, very, very nice work. Congratulations. You get a whole bunch of M&Ms for that.
It's a fantastically good description of the target. Really good.
Yeah. All right. clicked on the next one, just random, and it's Bob's. And here we have 9 pages.
Can you make it larger on the screen? It's really, really hard to read.
Yeah. I can, as long as it doesn't lock anything up. Trying really hard not to do too many fancy moves here. All right. Get down through phase 1. And there's a pretty good amount of gestalt here. And he feels nostalgic. And actually, he also has a really good summary. I did it right. Can you believe it? All right. Here is his P3 sketch, and he also has a building there. And we've got land that's rocky, gravelly textured. It's flat, mostly in a rural composition, deserted ambiance. Southern or Midwestern ambiance, it's orangey, bluish backdrop. The structure is abandoned concept, meaning unused meaning. Ranch-like structure, shack-like ambiance, wooden smell, old business ambiance, and out-of-date and service ambiance.
I think something's gone wrong with your microphone. I'm not sure. You're getting very hard to understand.
Okay, let me...
That's better. That's much better.
I leaned forward 1/4 of an inch. I'm not
joking. Well, don't do that.
All right, so heaven forbid I should lean back. Biological, there's a human composite, male structure, tall in height, older in years, Western ambiance. And I like the way he's picking up the old part of this, you know, like the transitioning from, you know, old business practices to new business practices. And he's picking up a nostalgic purpose, which that isn't actually a concept. Nostalgic is, and we could explore whether that's an emotion, and if it's his emotion, their emotion, but a purpose would be more like work-related or business-like, or any other suggestions there, Lynn?
Well, yeah, actually this may apply.
Okay.
I think up there on like the second page he had despairing feeling, but with the new mechanized methods taking over,
Right.
killing off the bees rather than, you know, them living, and that is affecting the local ecology and the plant life and everything else. One of the purposes of what they're doing here is keeping the old ways, and you know.
Is the purpose? Does a purpose experience nostalgia?
I think it, in this case, I think it could be keeping the old ways.
I'm going to call waffling on that.
No, I don't. Well, sort of maybe, but I don't think so, because there are a lot of
nostalgic, you know.
Well, they feel nostalgic, but also nostalgia. Yeah, as a noun, this would be more correct. Nostalgic is an adjective, but a lot of cultures these days are losing their identity, and they're fighting to keep that identity. So, so in a way, nostalgia could be one of the purposes here. You know, they want to keep
people. Mark the day. Lynn is sticking up for somebody instead of me. It's usually the other way around. Mark the day.
Well, I just see what's happening to the cultures around the world, and I know that nostalgia is a purpose for many people. But nostalgic would not be a purpose, right?
Okay, phase 4. And look at what he's picking up here. Some are crying, they're tired, sad, bewildered, confused, something taken away. You've got that in your stray cat column.
Maybe he's talking about the bees.
Well, I think it could be, there's a lot of opportunity for either one. Bees probably cry. I feel sorry for this bio, grieving. He's moved in front of it now. He sees decay, falling apart, devastated. This thing looks smashed. Sorry. Run down, damaged. Yeah, that's Bob. He's feeling sorry. He moved inside it. Very good. Very good. Empty, old, damaged, abandoned, neglected. Excuse me. Dimly lit. Natural light. Very good. He moved inside something, but it still has natural light. Uneven structurally. I don't think this place is safe. I feel okay. Very good. Broken. He's moved that over to the stray cat column, or CS column, I think. One or the other. Move to the land. What are you hearing now? Machinery sounds and banging. Moving, clearing, and leveling. Move 100 feet above the target. What do you see now? Very good. Open area, flat, hilly perimeter. Structure. See the structure, and over here where I can't quite see with the page, we've got bulldozer. We have yellow, bright luminance, heavy, large vehicle like it's moving and rolling. Now he's moved 10 feet in front of the man-made. What is it doing now? In front of the man-made. Very good. Moving, rolling, banging loud, clearing, knocking down, back and forth and across. All right. Took a break. Came back.
You know, it really does look like when he cued with the biological, he went to the bees.
All right. Me multitasking. And just for the heck of it, how would you know? He says human composition under his biologicals.
Could be.
Tip my head sideways here. We can flip this back, I guess, if we're going to study on it. All right. So, biological.
But I mean, the structure that he's, I'm sorry? Texan.
Texan.
Yeah, they're fighting back. No.
I wondered what that was going to get us.
Yeah.
There's African bees there, in Texas. Maybe. They're making a lot of racket down there about that.
Yeah.
But the biological, sadness, understanding, tall, worn out ambiance, tired looking, loss, and up above, he did say human. So crying, sadness, bewildered, confused, something taken away, shabby. I feel sorry for this bio. He's grieving. It is grieving.
I think he's slipped over to the bees because of the way he describes their structure, being torn down, being,
I think that's analyst overlay.
I couldn't understand you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, gotcha.
No, what did you say? I didn't understand you.
Analyst overlay.
Yeah, could be. I just from the description, it seems like he's gone over to the bees.
But our whole last session that came through, we did nothing but talk about the culture is dying and how upset the people are, and they're working on a smashed structure.
And that was a different viewer, right?
Yeah. Your point?
Okay. My point is that I think he moved over to the bees.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Okay.
Analyst note. Analyst note.
Two analysts never agree with each other. That's constant rule.
Well, good thing we're not deploying resources. It'd be up to the customer. That's it. All right. So the target has aspects of land, a structure, a biological, and a man-made. The land is natural brownish coloring with reddish hue, and it is dusty smelling and chalky tasting. There are echoing, banging, and machinery sounds at the land. The temp is windy and hot with a dry ambiance, southern Midwestern ambiance. The composition of it is rural. It's mostly flat shaped with hilly areas around the perimeter. The texture of it is bumpy and rocky. It is naturally bright and luminous with an abandoned and desolate ambiance. The backdrop of the land skyline is orangey and bluish in color. There's a lot of dustiness there and a concept of work at the land in the form of moving, clearing, and leveling. The structure is tinny tasting and wooden smelling. There's a tinny banging sound present there. There's an ambiance of rundown and disrepair associated with it. Furthermore, the ambiance is an out-of-date, business-like, and shack-like structure. It has an abandoned concept and meaning of unused and not needed. It is old in years with white coloring and red coloring that is faded. It's a wood-like, ranch-like structure, and it has low profile, 1 or 2 stories in height, with a boxy shape, and its temps are hot and dry. Concepts associated with it are decaying, falling apart, and devastated. The structure is run down and damaged. Interior of the structure is pretty much empty, with concepts of old, damaged, abandoned, and neglected. Dimly lit natural light there. Biological is human in composition and male in structure. He is tall in height and older in years with a Western ambiance. He is feeling sad emotionally with a worn-out, tired, and shabby-looking ambiance. I feel sorry for him. There is a concept of loss associated with him. He is crying and feeling sadness, grief, bewilderment, and confusion with a concept of having something taken that he liked related with him. The man-made is yellow in color and bright and luminous. It is moving, rolling, vehicle-like, heavy in weight, and large in size. It makes loud banging sounds with concepts of clearing and knocking down. It moves in a horizontal direction with a back and forth pattern. Other things that I find at the site are a sense of nostalgia and ambiance. Bob, did you have anything that you'd like to chime in about? This was a great session.
Hi. Hi. The only thing that I can actually make sense of here is the land description.
Mm-hmm.
Whether there's a structure there, I don't know. The biological's emotions, kind of hard to say. Don't know what's going on there, but the only thing I can say that really I can vouch for there, that I can actually see, is the land description being pretty good. The rest of it, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me just scroll down through here and see if it actually says.
My granddaughter's over in Nepal right now. I should have her look up some basic information on it.
Uh-oh. I just had a bad noise in my ear. Maybe it's okay. Someplace in here, I swear, it talked about how the new business part is taking over. And
Here's a total analyst AOL for you. That if they come in with the machinery and all, they're still going to hire local people who are seeing their whole way of life being ruined by the machines they're working for. How's that for overlay?
Yeah, I follow you. Bob, so that you could understand the emotions of a biological who is working at this. So you've got thousands of years of culture. They have ritual involved. They practically worship these bees, and they have a set way that they do things that has been passed on through their generations and their ancestry. And so now that is being changed up to mechanized bee harvesting for business. It's cold and impersonal. They don't care. The bees are being killed off. Says now both bees and traditional honey hunters are in short supply because of the overzealous harvest of more modern and more efficient methods. That is not only bad for the traditional hunters and for the bees, since the honeybee serves as a prime pollinator for the ecoregion. The bees' decline is thought to have devastating consequences for the native high-altitude plants that rely on the honeybees for their production. So, all in all, the ecoregion is being destroyed. You have a man-made that is appearing to have a lot of perceptions that destroy things. And you have people who are not happy about that activity, and you're describing some very accurate emotions that would describe someone who is grieving.
I think the descriptions are just spot on of the biologicals and the land and everything else. To provide full and accurate feedback, we'd need a lot more information. But, you know, as to exactly who the biologicals are and so on.
Right.
We need a lot more information than is provided in this feedback right here.
But I think that there is a whole lot of opportunity for emotional descriptors that, I mean, if you fixated on a kid eating a bunch of honey, he could be really, really happy about that. But if you have an adult who understands that their way of life is going by the wayside, then, you know, they might not be so happy. So anyway, I think that it's, as Lynn said, it's spot on. So.
Also, if the machines are harvesting and doing a 100% job, the kid doesn't get the honey or the honeycomb either. I don't know if you've ever chewed honeycomb, but it's delicious.
I have. The honey, unfortunately, that it came from was really strong and didn't have the best flavor. But I was an 1800s kid in Indiana. I'm sure I would have thought it was the best thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now we have
While you're looking for that, let me tell you that I've been, you know, my son came over the holidays and we set up a video studio, and I've been making videos for the online training. And let's just say I'm learning a lot. I'm in the steep learning curve process right now, but they're finally getting made. So hopefully we'll have something online pretty soon.
Good. And you're making videos instead of teaching live?
No, yes, I'm making videos so that people can do it on, you know, do the learning on their own at their own time. And each video is 5 to 10 minutes. So there won't be, you won't have to set aside an hour of time. And then we'll have webinars just like this, where I'll go over everything that the students do with them individually and so on. And you know, I've always said that you just don't teach controlled remote viewing without some face-to-face time. I'm convinced you can't do it. So that's our plan, and it seems to be going to work out.
Good. Okay, so here's Janine, and so far we're still lucky, we're still here. Target is an activity at a location. Describe the activity and or the location. Describe any participants involved. And so she's getting her usual multiple ideograms. She smashes a lot of information into just like 2 sets of coordinates.
By the way, can I say something here?
Certainly.
For people who use the targets of the week? When I say describe the participants involved, don't always AOL that to mean human. Okay? Sometimes, you know, it may be horses running across an open countryside or something like that. So the participants in the activity, don't assume anything on this front loading that you get.
The 3 people who are in here with us are my students, and if they AOL people instead of biological, which could be a carrot stick, I am breaking out the wet noodles.
Good.
They know better than that.
Good deal. I'm glad to hear that.
All right. And now we're rolling down. We have a lot of descriptors, and sometimes Janine, she works hard. Sometimes the words don't roll real well for her, and she's getting a lot here. Also, maybe she could type in because she usually texts her comments. She said that she tried to get into a more relaxed state in her session this time. She said that in an email. All right, so now we have an S3 sketch. It's circular, supported, larger than it is tall. Very good. AI was outside area, feels purposeful, serves a purpose. So there's a great relationship. Larger than it is tall. Light colored, resting on ground or flat surface, curving. The bios are black and white juxtaposed. Striped, crisp or starched. Looks like a shirt collar under a shirt with semi-formal. Then she has an AOL of a wedding snapshot with a bride and groom. Married, and so we may be AOLing here. Rectangular shape looks solid, but missing a strip out of the middle. And it reminds her of a wall or structure. So now she's sketching it, trying to give us some sense of tall structure with what looks like vertical stripes. Boy, I tell you, that's really similar to what, I mean, look at the pattern, like Michelle was indicating. Rectangular shape, grid-like, tall, wide, structure, high, AOL windows. And she moved directly to the assigned target. She's got water and bios, special suits, swimming underwater. It's murky. The motion is up and down, kicking with legs, male, something like flippers on feet. And she has an AOL of scuba diving. I don't know. We can talk in a minute about the swimming underwater and the motion involved with that. I'd like to come back to that. Here she has currents triggering rise and fall, and we've talked about them harvesting and going up and down and the lowering of the baskets and all that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We've got Bio 1, who's male and strong. Bio 2, thank you very much. Female, long dark hair, a couple of formally dressed in black and white. and we're going back to the wedding stuff. So we've got, and a little Susan Lucci from All My Children. Lynn, you probably don't know who that is. Then, that you're going to holler at me. Susan Lucci has really dark hair, and Lucci being Italian, meaning ethnic. So anyway, you don't have to holler, but I'm just saying.
No, that could be, physical descriptions. And when you said that, my first AOL that popped in immediately was that I think she's been put up for actress awards more than anybody else and never won one.
That's it. That's her. Except she might have finally won one. Maybe.
I think maybe so. I'm not sure.
But that is her. You are correct. You've been reading the tabloids when you're in the supermarket, waiting in line.
No, walking past the TV.
Oh. Probably symbolic. The image I got didn't look like Susan Lucci, more like Karen Carpenter's long dark hair. Physical descriptors.
Yeah, so it was a physical description, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of a phase 7.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Now we've got a bio female that's young, possibly 20s, blonde. Its hair's pulled back, wearing dark pants, and a pink and black striped soft jacket. Kind of naming there, you better be careful over something else. Pink and black are good, but naming, jacket like, or remind you of a jacket, or long sleeves, or, expand upon that. Over something else, standing near something inanimate, AOL or vehicle, and they are exuberant and energetic and upbeat like a little dancer stamping her foot. Now we're going on to authors referencing. What does Rebecca mean to you? Small boat, tossed seas, gray, rough weather, tragedy. And she thinks that the main character might have killed his wife. So her summary, target has aspects of natural, land, water, man-made, biologicals, and motion. Location has feeling of a land-water interface, possibly a coastal area with areas of land and areas of water, and the water appeared to be deep. First man-made appeared to be circular, wider in circumference than in height. It was light-colored and curving and appeared to be solid and resting on the ground or a flat surface. I'm not certain if it was the angle I was viewing or if it had a convex top. I perceived a second man-made which resembled a large rectangular shape with the impression of a striped strip missing, out of the upper middle part, or perhaps it might be better described as two rectangular shapes, one positioned above the other with an empty strip of space or aisleway between them. There was an impression of something resembling a tall vertical structure shape with what looked like vertical lines or stripes running in parallel lines down it. Man-made tree. There was also a perception of what seemed like a similar vertical rectangular shape or structure. This one appeared to be divided into a grid-like pattern comprised of smaller rectangular shapes. There were also impressions of biologicals at the target. Bio 1 appeared to be a male swimming or diving in somewhat dark water. He appeared to be wearing dark black special attire for that purpose. Felt like there might be other bios in the vicinity. There was an impression of two more bios, one male, one female, and they appeared to be a couple, and a vague impression of a formal, possibly a wedding picture of them with a female attired in a long white dress with long, dark, wavy hair, male with brown hair in a dark black formal attire. I had a further impression of Bio 4 being blonde female, possibly in her 20s, and some of her hair appeared to be tied back and appeared to be wearing dark black pants and pink and black striped soft jacket. Her demeanor appeared upbeat and exuberant as she appeared to be standing outside in what was possibly a paved or hard surface area near a large inanimate object, possibly a vehicle of some sort. I had random impression of the black and white striped shirt collar worn by a male, possibly at some type of gathering, but the details were very vague. I attempted something different for this session, trying to go deeper into an altered state for information, but ended up feeling less sure what was real and what was imagination.
That's good. With CRV, you try not to go, I don't know what method she used, but it looked like straight CRV. I was noticing the stage 4 labels across the top.
CRV.
Yeah, and CRV, you keep the conscious mind and the subconscious both alert, working with each other through the body, of course. And so getting into the altered state will almost always hurt your accuracy in CRV. It's counterproductive to actually do that when you're working CRV. You want to stay alert.
She says, I was experimenting with the way I received info. I had trouble deciding what was real info.
That's always a problem. The trick is that you don't decide that during the session. You decide that when you write your summary. And anything that you get in session, whether it's real or not, write it down.
All right, here's a few more pictures. Thought maybe we could get some more info on the location. I don't think this Australian picture should be included. Try not to do things overly quick here. Make my machine mad.
You know, I was wondering when I saw her thing with the squares, one above the other, and the space in between, if that wasn't her subconscious mind's way of saying that there is space between those squares, that being, you know, the hole, the hole in the ladder. And I was wondering if the squares on the roof in the first session and then the vertical building in the back would be the subconscious mind's way of saying, now this is all analyst overlay, of course, but I was wondering if all of the squares, repeated squares that's been in each one, might pertain to the ladder itself.
Got you. And I know that the honeycombs are not square shaped. I didn't know if perhaps, you know, drawing all those little, oh, there's a neat looking book, Honey Hunters of Nepal. All right, I thought maybe we might get lucky and see what the area around there looks like with some buildings. If I turn that video on, it'll probably really get us in trouble.
I can't picture there not being some kind of a village near there.
Wow, over 200 pounds when they area in there. These are just houses that said it was luxurious. It was whitewashed. Okay,
Like I say, my granddaughter's over there right now, helping people out in the small villages. So if I can get in touch with her, I'll try to find out if she's got any knowledge about all of this, and if so, I'll let you know.
Look at this rope ladder. Long braided bamboo ladder will soon be hoisted to the top of the cliff. It measures well over 320 feet in length. Now, here it says cliff faces, overhanging rock cliff faces near a river. And, I get that. It just looks like from the target photo that they were down inside a cavern. You did mention caves. So we've got different kinds of environments.
I think Janine said there was a river right near there, too.
So did Michelle.
Michelle, I mean, yeah.
Well, and but some of them are inside caves and some are out. Oops, he's crying, tearing probably from being stung, and it hurts
You get 100 bee stings, it's going to hurt.
a lot. Woven nettle fibers. Oh my. Ritual garb. 5 months work to create. Oh my. And ceremonial dress and older, it's protection in the jungle. Okay, well, poured the Chang, which is the millet beer, on the rock. There's fermenting. Then distributed as an offering. Then distributed a glassful to each participant. Oh boy, they attacked for 20 minutes just because they're panicked.
I think if I had
enraged bees.
I think if I had to go up that ladder into those bees, I'd have to drink enough beer that I couldn't make it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it at all. Decorated with a nasal septa decorated with a traditional gold pendant. Come to watch. Whoa, there's some cliffs. This cliff is home to 8 nests, 70 to 200 feet off the ground. Wow, 10 years ago there were up to 200 colonies on a single site. Nice word. The Remokapi. Rebo means rope in the Rai language. They keep it pulled tight to move the ladder from one nest to another. Better hope that your guy on the ground is really skilled. Hanging in acrobatic positions without anything to protect him. Some cliffs bear the names of those who lost their lives there.
There's that repeated square pattern.
Yep. tied himself to the ladder. That sounds like a plan. Handling the long bamboo poles. Hands are all swollen from being stung. So they roll into a ball. If you got any of those perceptions, when the attacks renew, they roll into a ball to protect themselves. Time stands still here. 30,000 years ago is when they first started. The outer part of the wax disc is occupied by the brood cells harboring the larva. And he must slice his way along using a long bamboo pole fitted with a wooden tip that has been whittled to form a flat blade. And the honey is stored in the bulging part of the nest. I don't know if you can tell that from that photo. To collect it, they must position a bamboo basket by maneuvering another pole held at arm's length underneath the cliff as he's preparing to cut away with the other pole. So the guys on the ground, or from the top of the cliff, they adjust the tension of the rope. Jeez. Coordinated effort that is accomplished blindly and on which the whole harvest depends. One of them is stationed farther away so he can keep an eye on like the overall site. And the people responsible are called kudaka, or close to that.
That may be Nepalese for crazy.
4 hours suspended between earth and sky to harvest. And each colony sets off a renewed attack. The honey cells, storage cells of the giant Himalayan bee are 5 to 10 times longer than those of ours. Ours barely measure more than half an inch, and theirs are 5 times that long. Wow.
In other words, tubes.
Uh-huh. Several colonies amassed on a single site means better genetic mixing by the great production of drones. It says it's forced through a cloth and stored in jerry cans. Much of the honey was lost this year due to the basket being poorly balanced. The community will have harvested only about 250 pounds, which is too little to sell. Village council will decide to divide it between the villagers, who will put it to therapeutic use. So the bees travel between 50 and 100 miles. Once any stuffed bees are removed, then they force it through the cloth. we're almost done with this. Monsoon rain has calmed the bees' fervor. A beverage tang, a beverage of fermented millet, makes the rounds one last time, including as an offering to the rock. Each receives a large glassful, lips never touching the bottle. Talks about the guy who directs everything. He is not a member of the committee presiding over the village, but he directs the operations with undeniable natural authority. First evening of the harvest. Man, how many days do they do this? Well, I think that pretty much, I was hoping to see if there were any structures there, but not really. Anybody have anything to add?
I think we had some very perceptive sessions.
I think so too. Proud of you guys. And Mean says it looks very dangerous. Yeah, I agree. Wired is usually a really good magazine. I thought I'd see what they had to say. So
I wouldn't want to be the photographer on that either.
no, me either. So there we go. That is everything. Paul, I see you're back. I think that the last time you came, you had some trouble getting in as well. I'm sorry. Some really great sessions tonight describing the harvesting of this honey. So, that's all I have. Anybody have any questions? Anything they'd like to talk about, ask about? And I feel very fortunate that we've managed to stay together this long this evening. But
Christine, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, I typed, but it didn't go through. This is Michelle here. Hi, everybody. Great
Hi.
sessions. One of the first things that happened in my session was I thought of my friend Christina. So I just blew it off because I felt that it was about personal business. But that was my subconscious. She raises bees. So that was a very funny joke on me, but note to self, I got it.
Good.
Yeah.
Write down everything.
I did, but I didn't go that second step and question it, you know? So I did write down her name, but like I said, I just thought it was, she was occupying my head, so I pushed her, I set my friend aside.
You declared her as a stray cat, I believe, right?
I did. Should have held that tail.
No, I think you did great. You did what you were supposed to do. Cool. She raises bees.
Yes. And they teach people about bees. Her son went on into New York and began doing all the rooftop bees with, you know, teaching and expanding science in New York. So, yeah.
How cool is that?
Yes.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Okay, folks. Next month we will do it again, and I'll put the tasking up just the way I did for this month, and all it just says for each level, and it comes directly from Lynn. And I don't think I'm going to have any time to retask anybody. All I can say is, you know, we've talked about it and talked about it. You know, when you're in phase 4, chase those details. Anything that you can think of that you get as a perception to look at information, use those move commands, stay curious, keep your nose in the target, and explore, okay? If, for instance, you were working for Find Me or anybody who was looking for a missing person, you know, the more thorough job you do the first time around, then yeah, there's something to be said for front loading, get in, get what you need to get, and get back out. But you're in practice mode right now, and so you're teaching yourself to remote view. So get every little detail that you can possibly think to chase. Okay, you know your move commands, you know how to use them. They're part of the tools in your tool belt, and just work those sessions. Whether it's an event or an activity, look for that kind of information in your front loading. Lynn's going to tell you where to focus your work. If it has a lot of perceptions for the basic kids, it's going to be there. You know, it's going to have a lot of sensories. For the intermediate people, it's going to have more focus and so far as possible the event or the location. But you remember the event, if it's an event or an activity, there's more than one gestalt usually in play to make an event or an activity happen. So if you should happen to get that kind of front loading, think about it. You know, if you don't have much activity related perceptions, look around, give yourself move commands and see what you can dig up. Lynn, you probably have something to cheer us on with.
Yeah, these sessions tonight were great. And along with what you were saying right there, I keep telling everybody that you can be a fantastic remote viewer and high degree of accuracy and everything else, but not yet be what Joe calls a world-class remote viewer. And the one thing that is going to make you world-class, even before you completely learn all there is to know about remote viewing, is curiosity. You get, you get curious about, you get an impression, you say, oh, why is that? And you go looking for things related to it, things behind it, just get curious. And if you get curious, you're going to wind up a world-class remote viewer. And that's the big secret.
All right.
And when you get an answer to what you're curious about, write it down.
With that, I think I'm going to call it a night, and we will see everybody hopefully in a month.
Thank you for doing this, Teresa, and thank everybody for coming.
Hopefully we'll have some new faces next month. I've had probably 5 or 6 people inquiring, so we'll see how it goes.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys in a month. And you know where I am in between if you need me, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.